Can I say that every single person in this town is awful? Hey guys, it's Becca from Books and Looks, and I'm here for another episode of Becca's Book. So I'm finding these to be pretty organic. It's more of like, I just finished a book and I really want to talk about it. So that's what these are probably just going to be. I'm just going to finish a book and decide to grab my camera and film a little book talk whenever Mike won't talk to me about something. So today I will be reviewing Into the Water by Paula Hawkins, the writer of Girl on the Train. Just as a trigger warning out there, and I don't see triggers as spoilers, there is mention of suicide and rape in this story. So if those are trigger points for you, I don't recommend you picking this book up. This is her second novel after her debut novel of Girl on the Train. I did read it as an audiobook. This time around, I tend to like to listen to my thrillers and mysteries as audiobooks because sometimes the way they get read to me, it just adds, you know, some of that mystery thrillerness, some of like the creepiness to mystery thrillers that I really enjoy. Especially with Paula Hawkins, I did listen to Girl on the Train as an audiobook, which I highly recommend. That book is told in 3 different point of views, and the audiobook is acted in with 3 different actresses, and it really helps you set the stage for it. So the same thing goes here with Into the Water. Into the Water is set in the town of Beckford, which has a giant river running through it. In fact, the book describes this river as a place like no matter where you turn in this town, you're gonna run into this river. This river has a certain bed, you know, where it kind of pools. That is a famous drowning spot where a bunch of women throughout the history of this town have drowned and died. The book actually takes place right after the death of one of our main characters, Nell, who just died in this spot called the Drowning Pool. Nell was actually writing a book about this spot and the history of all of the women who died. It is narrated through a ton of people's point of views. In fact, I believe there's over 11 point of views in this book, and it just revolves around how she died and the kind of the history around all of the deaths that take place here at this river in Beckford. Yeah, so there are a lot of point of views thrown at you in the beginning without any kind of clear direction or explanation. So I'm doing the audiobook of Into the Water, and it's a lot of point of views. It's a lot, like, keeping track. I struggled with getting together who was who in the beginning. I even made like a little diagram of like the cops and who was together. Well, once you get to the second half of the book and the stories start intertwining and people start talking to each other more, you really get a sense of who is who and who died and how people are connected to who died. So once you hit that point, the story really picks up and you really start getting into it.
Okay, finally got some names down, and it's making sense. I can do this. I can do this book, guys. I can do this audiobook.
So the book kind of takes place over the month of August in 2015. You also do a couple of flashbacks to some of the people who died in the drowning pool. The flashbacks are done through, you know, reading excerpts in Nell's book that she wrote, The Drowning Pool. So what's really good about Into the Water, and it was what I really enjoyed about Girl on the Train, is the whole unreliable narrator. Everyone is saying their truth, which isn't exactly the real truth. And also, you're hearing what they are telling others. So you're hearing what they want others to know, not necessarily what they know. So I really love those types of stories. I really love unreliable narrators. I think it makes it really interesting, and it makes it really relatable because you can kind of put yourself in those shoes where maybe you didn't tell the whole truth, or you knew something but you weren't exactly telling somebody else this, or maybe you saw something a certain way, you swore you saw something a certain way and that's not actually how it happened. So I really like this because I find it relatable, and I really like seeing mysteries through this. So what I really liked about Into the Water is I kind of did guess who it was.
I knew it. Ah, called it from the beginning. Just gonna say that.
But you really don't find out who it is, and it is kind of a slow burn of a book, and there isn't some big climactic moment. There's once you hit the second half of the book, there's a bunch of these just like shock moment, this happened, this person did this person did this, that it all just kind of crumbles. So I wouldn't exactly say this is like a big climactic, oh, this person did it moment. I feel like the book just kind of just reveals all of these things happening. Can I say that every single person in this town is awful?
What is wrong with all of these people? There's so many bad people.
I could not relate to one character in this book. I think that also made it really hard to get into the point of views, was just no one was relatable because everyone was so awful. Almost every single point of view in this story does something really, really awful. And that's all I'm going to say because I don't want to spoil anything. But man, I couldn't believe how terrible everybody in this town was. So you'll find out about that. Keep reading. So, you know, my big issue with this town, and they had so many deaths in, like, off this cliff into this, you know, little pool of water at the river. Why the hell is this river so accessible? If you have a history of people dying, especially in this particular pool where there's a cliff or by the river, why the heck is it not locked up, you know, fenced in with cops and surveillance? Like, if there are so many people dying here, I don't understand why anybody can just go there. Doesn't your town do anything to stop that kind of thing? I just am like in shock with how many deaths are in the exact same place, and people know this is like a place where people go to die if they don't do anything about it. That does not make any sense. Also, along that lines, I feel like almost everyone in this book is just swimming in this river or walking around or visiting homes when they're not supposed to. But why is everyone swimming in a river with tons of dead bodies in it? This river is clearly infected with blood and bile of all of these dead women. Why is everyone so persistent about swimming in that? Like, why are there not people with diseases and all of these sicknesses after swimming in that kind of water very consistently? They talk, who the story's about, Nell, she goes to the river almost every day and talks. I'm just like, how is she not sick from all of this, you know, degrading bodies in this water? I mean, maybe they pull them out, but I don't really know. I don't know that, do I? I just know a ton of people die in this water and nobody even cares. And everyone's just like, oh, everyone dies here. Let's go there. I don't know, guys. I gotta tell you, this book was like a 2-star for me until the second half of the book, and now I would rate it a 3.5 stars, which is really good. It's very entertaining, very twisty and turning, which is just what I want in a mystery thriller. Once you get past all of the point of view characters and once you start getting to know who's who, the story really picks up and it becomes a pretty good read. I did like the supernatural aspect that Nikki, the psychic, brought. I thought it was written really, really well. That whole character in general, even if it was kind of weird and random. But overall, the story was really creepy. I really enjoyed it, and I do recommend this book. I absolutely recommend the audiobook for this because there are so many point of views. They do have different actors for each of the point of views. All right, so I'm going to help you out here before you start. We're going to walk through these characters. So first you have Nell. Nell is kind of who the story is about. She's the one who died. She was not very popular in town because she was writing a book about the drowning pool and all the people who died in this, which, you know, some families have some personal experiences with death. So we have Nell. Nell had a daughter, Lena. And so Lena, I think she's about 16 years old. And her and her mother were really close. They lived alone in this mill. Then you have Jules, or Julie, who is Nell's estranged sister. They had a falling out a long time ago, and, you know, the story kind of goes off of that. Then you have Kate. Kate also drowned a couple weeks prior to Nell. Kate was best friends with Lena. Kate had a brother named Josh, who's a point of view. And Kate also has a mother named Louise. She is a point of view. And she blames Nell a lot for Kate's death. She didn't like Nell to begin with, and then when her daughter died, she blamed Nell for it. So there's animosity there. Then we have Erin, who is a detective sent from out of town to work on this case. You'll find out about her. Then you have Sean, who is also a cop on Nell's case. And Sean's family has history with a woman who died in the drowning pool as well. You have Sean's father, Patrick, and Sean's wife, Helen. Helen is the headmaster at the school. The school also has a teacher, Mark. This is the school that Kate and Lena go to. And then you also have Nikki, who's this goth, like older goth psychic in town. So those are most of the point. I think I might have missed one or two, but basically those are your point of views. That's a little walkthrough for you so you can get started into the book. Alright guys, so that's it for my spoiler-free review of Into the Water. Let me know if you have read it or if you have any interest in reading it. Was there a certain or particular character that you liked most? And tell me what you thought of the book, guys. Thanks again so much for watching Becca's Books. Mike will be back in our next video per usual. I'll see you later.